Okay, so now I cannot speak anything stupid, isn't it?
You can. I mean, it's up to you.
Okay. I'll try my best. I'll try my best. So, okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me for next 45, 50 minutes or something. And the topic which I'm going to talk a little bit about is delivering increments enough? I'm going to ask this question again as well, but this is where we will be actually more talking about. So, let me just see. Oh, yeah, good. Okay. So who I am, a little bit about me. So I am professional Scrum Trainer with this scrum.org, and I'm also the Pro Kanban Trainer with prokanban.org as well. And apart from just delivering training, for fun, I also do product and the agile coaching as well, because that's something is quite awesome, isn't it? Talking to the teams, talking to the product people, talking to the organizations. And my main focus area in that is working mainly with the startups and all, because that's where I can see a lot of energy and I really, really love it. And my mission is to just help people and teams delivering great outcomes. Okay, that's what I'm mainly after, not looking for something else, not about the products and all. It's more about the outcomes. And you will see this might reflect in my talk later as well. So let's first start with what is increment. Okay, so briefly, I pretty much sure all of you might have read Scrum Guide thousands of times, or maybe at least hundreds of times. Okay, but few little things which I may bring from the Scrum Guides, a little bit about the Scrum in itself. Okay, increment. So what we say is increment is some of it's very much like a product in itself. Okay, when your product backlog items, it meets the definition of done, which is actually the commitment. One of the commitment got introduced into the Scrum Guide into 2020. Okay, it's a very controversial and less understood topic, but okay, I will not go much deeper into it. Only thing I would like to talk about is that done means is the quality criteria that makes our product usable, valuable, and sometimes you can say the potentially releasable or the releasable as well. And our increment is there to meet the definition of done. That means it has got all the quality criteria to make it valuable, usable, and probably potentially shippable as well. And every increment is very much like, you can say, the stepping stones towards our goals. So remember, creating increment is not the goal. We're still serving towards the higher purpose, which is the product goal in itself. Okay, it is just one mean to reach there. Okay. Now, this one. Okay, done increment. Okay, so done increment, the increment which meets the definition of done, to me, it is the ultimate level of transparency. You must be wondering, why, mate? Why you are using the word transparency? Yes, guys, empiricism, that's what Scrum is all about, isn't it? Transparency, inspection, adaptation. And to me, done increment provides the ultimate level of transparency, because now you can pretty much release, take the product to the users, to the customers, and obtain the true feedback. Everything before that is just an assumption. Am I right? Anybody has ever delivered a must-have requirement that never got used by any of your customers or users? Yay! That must-have was also an assumption, isn't it? Okay, so to me, this is where we only know whether our value assumption has been true or false when we actually go to the market. And that's why, to me, done increment provides that ultimate level of transparency. Now, you must be wondering, mate, if everything is so good about the done increment, then what's the problem? What are you talking about? That why we shouldn't just create the increment in itself? Okay. Okay, so with this, let me tell you a little story. Okay, so last year I had a great opportunity to work as a product consultant in a big banking organization here in the UK, and I was talking to a couple of product owners, and I was having a little chat and asked them, guys, how's your products are going? And they said, very good, mate. And they started giving me some good insights. And those insights were mainly around how many features they have delivered. Okay, how much the productivity has got improved. And they even started showing me their burn down chart, nice looking burn down chart and all. And I was like, okay, all good, mate, but where is the value in it? And they said, we have delivered so many features in the past some time. That's a value that we are delivering. And to be honest, that little discussions, or I should say in brackets, disagreement, okay, went a little far. One of the product owner, they actually printed this agile manifesto and they started showing it to me. Mate, in the agile manifesto we talk about this working software or the working product. Isn't agile is all about that, creating working software and the working product in itself? And that discussion went for a long time. And to me, I do not think that just creating increment is enough. I don't think so. We need to go beyond that. I do not think that just creating you can stop at just creating the increment, just the delivery itself. We have to go beyond that. We have to understand whether the assumptions that you hold when you are building those features, those products, whether they have delivered the value or not. And for that, we have to obtain the feedback. For that, we have to obtain the analytics. How many of you have seen that the product owners, they believe their job is just to deliver it? And then they pass it over to operations and maintenance and they get the brunt of it. Anybody has seen something like it? Ever worked with the operation and the maintenance? We have just passed over the crap from one area to the another area. I once worked in another organization where we created an awesome product on time, on budget, on the scope. Even we had a very great Christmas party as well, celebrations. But what actually it did was it increased so many calls to the customer services department, and our organization, they had to hire 20 people to handle that number of calls. But we delivered the product, isn't it? On time, on budget, on scope, successful product, maybe, but no. For the organization, probably it is not that great in itself, because we saved a cost somewhere, but we created the cost anywhere, another place as well. So in the end, it is zero. Okay. So what I'm going to talk more about here is that I'm going to focus more on the outcomes over the output. Okay, and that's what I'm focusing more on. Is, to me, increments are the output. We are creating this output to get certain outcomes. And we have to start from there. So with this, one of my favorite definition of outcomes. Anybody has read this little book, Outcomes Over Output by Joshua Sedan? Very little book, guys. I think somewhere around 80 or 90 pages. But it has got quite a wealth of knowledge. Joshua Sedan has also written this book as well. If you can see, Lean UX. Okay, and I'm not promoting Joshua Sedan, so guys, he hasn't paid me for that. But I really love this definition. Okay, the definition that outcomes are the changes in customer, user, and employee behavior that leads to some positive things for your company, your organization, or whoever is in your focus. Why I like about this definition is because it has got the human element in it. People who are using those products, and also people who are building those products as well. To me, outcomes are the observable and the measurable behavior changes of who? Humans, like customers, users, and employees. And this definition is so powerful as well that, okay, if your outcomes are not measurable, then why the hell we are building things as well? How we will know whether we are going in the right direction or not going in the right direction? And this is the reason in some of my classes, I always talk about this thing that, guys, think about those things. What behavior changes you can bring for the users and the customer. So I have brought some examples of it. Okay, so few. For an example, your output could be, guys, let's build a call to action button on a website or on a mobile application. It's an output. That button, that widget that you have got is an output. The outcome that you might be looking for is that people, they use it and it eventually help in the more purchases. That's the outcome that your organization might be looking for. Okay. Next one. Let's build up comment and the share features. Woohoo, delivered, all good. But then actually what you're looking for is through that comments and the share feature, you are looking for the engagement increase in the engagement among the people. Now, I ask you one question. Do you think there could be some other ways to increase the engagement among the users as well, apart from just this one? Maybe, maybe not. But at least when we start thinking about this outcome first, it explores the opportunities to think about the multiple solutions. How many of you have got just being asked to deliver certain kind of solution? You are not probably given the why you are building it. You are just given build this. Anyone here? You just get, come on guys, build this. We have got these user stories, build this. We have got this feature, build this. But we are not told that why actually we are building this as well. For who we are building this in itself as well. Okay. So couple of another example. Nowadays we hear a lot about chatbots, isn't it? Everybody, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, let's have chatbots. But what are you actually looking after that chatbot as well? Probably you are after is that we really want people to change the way they communicate with us. Many people, they give us a call and they stuck on the call for many hours or many minutes. What we want is those people are self-serve. And that's the outcome that you are looking for. What is a change in the human behavior? Earlier, I used to give a call. Now I go to the chatbot. That's a human behavior change. Observable, measurable human behavior change. That's what you're after. Okay. Now, you must be wondering that let's don't create outputs then. Hang on a second. I'm not saying that. Okay. You cannot get outcomes without outputs. You can't. Okay. So generally, this is coming from the logic model. So generally, you have got resources and inputs. When you have got those resources and input, they do certain kind of activities. And again, I can also add people as well. I'm not saying people are resources here, guys. So don't shut me down here. Okay. So I can add people as well. People, resources, and input we have got, and then they do certain kind of activities. Okay. Through that, we get certain kind of outputs, like you can say the products, the feature, the widget, or whatever you have got. And we assume that just delivering this product, we can gain the success. Our customers and the users, they are going to use our products and the services. Okay. So, but let me ask you a question. Show me your thumbs up if you feel that just by having a working increment, you can get an output. And show me thumbs down, it's not always guaranteed. So thumbs up if you feel that, yes, if you deliver the output, outcome is guaranteed. And thumbs down if you deliver the output, it is not guaranteed. I have put the other way around. So let's see. Okay, one thumbs down, few thumbs down. Anybody thumbs up here? No, it's not guaranteed. And this is where we are saying that probably we need to think about these things a little bit more logically as well. Okay. Again, I would say one more thing. You cannot get outcomes without output. You can't. Okay. So, but what we're suggesting here is start here. Think about the outcomes that you are looking for. What behavioral changes are you looking for in terms of the users, customers, and employees, which is taking us towards a positive direction. Start from here and then think about what outputs we need. And this kind of approach creates innovation, because there are always many ways you can get the same outcome. Sometimes some of those outputs are simpler as well. But then it creates an opportunity for us to think about there could be the multiple options as well. Okay, I give you one real life story here. Anybody wants to hear a story? A real life example? I'll just take silence as no. Okay, because I'm the only speaker. Okay, you can't say no. Okay, okay, good. Okay, so once upon a time, I used to work in an organization, a banking organization, and what we were working on was we were working on certain loan application for the businesses. Okay, so business, they come to the bank, they ask for the loan, and we used to provide that. Now, in that, one of the problems that we had was people, they used to make a lot of mistakes when they are filling out the application forms. So for an example, let's say my company name is Edge Agility. Okay, that's my company name, which in reality is Edge Agility. Okay, if I have been successful and my company is quite big, there will be many people who are representing my company. Okay, so in my database, bank database, my company could be found as Edge Agility Ltd dot, Edge Agility Ltd Limited, Edge Agility Ltd without dot, multiple records of the same company. And that was a big problem for the bank. So the bank wanted was, their outcome was they were looking for that people making less mistakes when they are filling out the form. That's what they wanted. That's the outcome that we are trying to work towards, to reduce the errors that people are making. And initially what we thought of was, what we're going to do, guys, we are going to build lots of drop down so that people, they are not making lots of manual inputs in itself. That's what the initial solution that we thought of. During the sprint, we started working towards it. And even after that, we learned, come on, guys, even if we create the lots of drop down, there is still going to be quite a lot of fields which are manually entered as well. How it is not going to reduce the number of errors that people are making drastically. And at that moment, one of the developers suggested, guys, why don't we have this information directly from the source? And you're like, what do you mean? That we actually can get this information from the company house. So the people who are not from UK, company house is a government database where all the company information is there. And that data is public. Okay. And to our surprise, there were free APIs available. Only thing that we had to do was, somebody needs to put the company reg number, registration number. You do the lookup. That lookup will trigger an API, go to the company house, collect the information that you need, and all the information filled automatically. Now, different way of achieving the same outcome. Now, this output was much better than the previous one, because not only it reduced the total number of errors, but it also starts saving the bank £1 million every year. Why? Because if you are sending the wrong record to any credit search engine, they cannot find the company, and they will say, company not found, do the manual search. And people, then they have to go through all the database and do the manual search, which was a very costly affair for the bank. So just wanted to share this thing, that how that thing starting from the outcomes can actually start bringing the innovation and the experimentation as well. When we only think about the output, we are actually killing the innovation in a way. We just think, okay, my boss says build this, that's it, that's what I will do. If it goes wrong, I will blame the other people. Okay. So guys, one big suggestion, please start from the outcomes. Okay. Now, few tools I would like to share here as well, that which can definitely help. Okay. So this is the modified version of the impact mapping, if you have seen it before. Okay. And I really love this tool because it connects the goal, it connects the business impacts, and it's also connect the user and the outcome that our users are looking for. Okay, so if you'll see, if you go from left to right, a really nice story form up. Our company may get the 20% increase in the revenue through these two impacts. One of the impact is if we are getting more new customers. For that, we are going to focus on this kind of persona type, Kate. Okay, Kate is a professional person. The outcome that she's looking after is the less hassle in her life. And for that, what we are going to provide is the personalized search so that she can find out something very easily. Okay, a very nice story forms up. Now, I would like to be very practical here as well. So again, show me thumbs up if in your product backlog or from your product owners, only thing that you get is this, and all this thing is actually missing. You only get this part. Anyone? Show me thumbs up if you only get this part. So 1, anyone else? 2, and that's how it used to be, guys. Whenever I have worked as a product owners and all as well. This is what we get. Now, you must be wondering, this is what I get, so how to do? So guys, again, you can go backward. It need not to always start from left to right. You can go backward as well. So even if somebody has given you the feature, think about what outcomes we are looking for, which user group it might be for. And when these outcomes to these users are delivered, what business goals and impact then we can connect as well. It need not to be always left to right. Yes, the story will form from left to right, but you can go backward as well. Now, one more tip. When you do come here, okay, so this is the output and this is the outcome that the users are looking for. Ask yourself a question. Could there be other possible outputs as well? And that's where I will say, guys, we can start building the innovation thinking within our people. Okay. So for an example, let's say I am currently building, helping an organization and a startup which are building the learning management systems. Okay. And the feature currently they are working towards is the practice assessments. Okay. So feature is the practice assessment, but what outcomes our users might be looking for? Anyone would like to give it a try? What outcomes the users might be looking for from the practice assessment feature? Anyone brave enough? Any brave soul? No? Don't want to take the question? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so the outcome now you might be looking for is maybe somebody is looking for the validation of the learning. They want to get confidence before they take the main assessment as well. Now, these outcomes which I'm talking about is for a learner. Remember, there is another user type as well, and that could be the trainer who's actually creating those practice assessments as well. And this is where we need to think that different user personas might be having the different outcomes they might be looking for as well. And then what kind of business outcome it helps them to their organization is the more and more people we start getting into the practice assessment. Okay, it helps them in gaining the leads as well, which eventually can be really, really helpful for them to grow their business. Okay. Now, again, powerful tool, which can connect the outcomes, goals, and also the features and the product backlog items, what you have got. Another tool, which you might have heard as well, guys, is evidence-based management. Okay. Identification of value is just one thing, measuring the value is another thing as well. And I have found evidence-based management framework so powerful to think about from the different angles. Okay, so for an example, if you haven't gone through the EBM framework before, EBM framework has got 4 key value areas. One value area is the current value. Current value is about the value that my organization or the product they are delivering today at the moment. How I can keep my existing customers happy by delivering them more features, by delivering maybe the better user experience, better quality, and all that. For different products, the current value may be different. Every product is different, and maybe the current value, how you measuring it, may be different as well. Unrealized value is very much linked with your strategic direction. Can we find out different markets? Can we find out different customer groups as well? Okay, where our product and the organization can go into as well. Anybody heard of Nokia phones? Nokia phones, remember, guys, in the early 2000s? Awesome. At one point of time, their current value was very, very high, isn't it? They were the market leader. They were having the very good sellings of the mobile phones and all that. But I'm not sure, but something happened into the industry. iPhone came, touchscreen phone came, and the unrealized value actually started increasing. So what I'm just trying to stress on that, even though many organizations, they want to focus on the current value, you cannot have a blind eye towards the unrealized value. You can't. In today's fast-paced environment, fast-changing environment, you need to think about that unrealized value as well. And hence, you need to do the competitive analysis, the market analysis, the industry things. And don't just look into your industry, look into the other industries. Okay. Now, to deliver this market value, you need to have good organizational capability as well. And this is where the bottom half of the EBM framework comes very important as well, that how effective is my organization in doing the innovation? Anybody impacted by the technical debt? Anybody's product? Probably many. Yeah, thanks, Todd. So Todd, if your team is already impacted by the technical debt, their ability to innovate is already low. And that's something that we need to see, that how I can measure that technical debt as well. We all know that yes, technical debt is there, but are we putting an effort to measure that technical debt as well? Okay. So not only just that, it's also about improving, it's about the context switch and all that thing as well. Okay. And then the last part is the time to market, that how faster we can go there. So things like flow metrics, cycle time, those things could be helpful to understand how quickly we can turn something into the value as well. So guys, few little tools that how we can start thinking about the value for our customers, for our users, for our employee. So previous one, which was the modified version of the impact mapping and the EBM framework. So last, I will conclude as well. So how do we solve the problem? Three things. Continuous discovery of the potential value, ideas, experiments. We need ideas, we need experiments. At the same time, what we need is, once we have identified this, we have to do the continuous delivery of these things as well. Continuous delivery of the output, but keeping the outcomes in our mind. Okay, don't deliver the outputs without keeping the outcomes in the mind, because we can end up into feature factories. And the last one, continuous measuring the outcomes and keep doing the inspect and adapt. That's what the essence of a Scrum is, not just doing the things and go by the motions. Okay, and here I will finish. So guys, you can, if you want to connect with me, you can do that upper one, scan the upper one, and I would really love some feedback as well, because we are talking about the outcomes, isn't it? So my output has been delivered. I would really love to know the outcome of this presentation as well. And I am also open for certain questions, and if somebody would like to ask as well.
Thank you so much, Lavaneesh. I think we all can recognize how bad metrics can affect our daily work, especially when you measure things such as how many features have you done, how many story points, not per team, but even at individual team members and so on. And it's really scary how that really, makes things much worse. I love the thing with the intended value. I think that really is a good way of making you go in the right direction in order to provide value with the quick feedback loops as well, as you said. And I was thinking, I thought it was interesting what you said about outcome, that's a behavior change. And if you have a behavior change, that's actually a culture change. Because for me, at least, culture is the actions we take based upon how we believe the word works. And if you think and you can get another way of working, you believe the word works in another way, and then actually change your attitude and your behavior and the way that you work. So it's a nice feedback loop in that sense. I was thinking many Scrum teams are still very output focused, having being factory, feature factory, exactly. Is there a trick that you know of in how to change your way of thinking, to not focus on the features, but actually focus on the value that you want to create? Something simple for a team member themselves to do.
And when I was saying team member, Frederick, I would definitely consider product owner as a team member as well. Because if product owner, they are only bringing the features, let's say even if we take the simple one, simplest, the most, I would say, popular way of writing product backlog item is user stories, isn't it? As I want, so that if our product owners and whoever the team members are, if they can start filling that so what, and that to sense of the outcomes, it can make things very clear. Okay, and also add, don't do as a user. I have seen so many user stories where they simply write as a user. Which kind of user are you talking about? and that's where probably we can fit our personas. As a Tom, who is the debt management manager, as a Alex, who is the debt management analyst, they both have got different needs. One wants to have the overall view, another wants to look into certain things in itself. And when we start putting those personas, our so what becomes a little bit better as well. So focusing on the users, customers, and that value, I think we need to put a little bit effort on that. And this is something that we can start doing into the product backlog refinement as well.
Since you're talking about that, there was kind of a comment around this about the format of kind of a user story and how you can basically introduce these concepts of outcome and impact. And I think what they said was, is it kind of like, as a role, I want to be able to get an outcome so that this will lead to an impact. So the question, I think, is, can you basically introduce this into the way you write a story?
It means, the one format which I shared in one of the slides, that we have got the impact, we have got the users, outcome, and then the feature. I can fill it in a way as a Kate or Jane or whoever it is. I'm looking for this connect or the share feature, okay, so that my life is less hassle. And then I can also extend to it the business impact as well. And this eventually can help us in onboarding more and more people. And when we do, this is why I really like that, I would say, the modified version of impact mapping, because if it is done, my user story is already written in a way. And it is very, very, I would say, visualization technique as well, which stakeholders can understand very easily. Sometimes I have seen stakeholders that do not want to even look into the user stories, but because they haven't got much time. But if you provide a little visualization, they connect with it much better.
Oh, cool. There was another comment which I also find very true, is that basically you get what you measure, and usually when you set, for example, KPIs or OKRs, it's gamified. You always get the gamification, and the intention again is misunderstood. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I completely agree on that statement, Frederick. You get what you measure, and that's why I was talking more about we need to measure the outcomes rather than the output itself. And I would say not just the rather, along with the outputs as well. Okay, output measurement is not bad, but we also need to measure whether those output are actually delivering the outcomes as well or not. Okay, so very much like, okay, if you are measuring the busyness of the people, you will get the busy people. Yeah, but if you start measuring the value, you will eventually start gaining the value as well. This is where I am a big fan of that EBM framework, Frederick, where you start thinking about what is that value means to us, how we are going to measure that value. And one suggestion I would say in that case is look from the three perspectives: customers and users, second is stakeholders as well, and third, employee perspective as well. We need to look for those three angles. What is the current value means for us?
Yeah, from my experience, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. From my experience, one of the things that I've encountered is that, if you measure metrics like story points, etc., you can do it immediately, and it's kind of easy to measure. But if you want to measure value, it's a long feedback loop. How do you handle that?
We love simple and easy things, isn't it, Frederick? That's why in the Scrum framework, the hardest thing are what? Product goal, sprint goal, definition of done. These things are hardest. And these are the things generally we do not, many of the Scrum teams, they do not even do. Okay. Just because it is hard doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. And because it does require a little bit thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, why do you think people struggle with the value measurement so much? I mean, in my experience, people have no trouble measuring output, right? It's just the outcomes and the impacts and things like that. Why do you feel people struggle with that?
My theory on that thought is that it mainly leads to the lack of clarity about the strategy and lack of clarity about the goals in itself. Something that we talk a lot is that goals drive the measures drives the behavior, and then a little bit going back as well. If our goal is not clear, I'm pretty much sure our measures are also not going to be clear as well. And this is where we get the problem as well, that, okay, is our product goal clear? Because if our product goal is clear, we will know that how we are going to reach there as well. And that's when we can start finding the metrics that can help us in understanding that. But to get to the product goal, we need a good, clear strategy as well. How many product owners they have got a strategy? I yesterday delivered one PSPO advanced class in one of the banks. There were 15 people, and none of them, they had the strategy with them within their organization. And this shows that, and because many product owners, they are focused more onto those tactical stuff rather than thinking about that strategy in itself. If they are not looking into the strategy, I can say nobody is. So if we have got some product owners here, my advice, sometimes asking for forgiveness is better than asking for permission. Don't wait. Create a strategy and show it to the people. That is it what our strategy.
Can I ask you then, what do you think about roadmaps? And what kind of a roadmap should it be? Should it be a feature roadmap?
Again, it depends on so many different things as well. Who's the audience, Frederick? Who's the audience? Depends on that.
I'm just thinking, if you put in goals, for example, and you have a long-term goal and everybody knows the intention of that goal, let me just be a little bit provocative. Do you then even need to have a roadmap? Or do you just experiment your way towards the goal?
Yeah, and this is where I would say, Frederick, because I know in many big organizations, yes, people want dates from you, isn't it? They want dates and plan from you. It's not because they love dates. It's just that they have to create their plan for their customers and their stakeholders as well. Okay. I do not want to blame them. And for that kind of audience, we have to provide certain kind of indications and things like that. So it looks like roadmap are the tool to communicate our strategy to me. Okay. Communicate our high level plans. So is there a need exist for those things? I think yes. Because people, they have to create their own plans based on your plans as well. But how many times our plans are going to be right? That's where what we need to do is we need to communicate into the changing that roadmaps every, I would say, every sprint. So one of my, I would say, go-to thing is every sprint review, I share my roadmap to my stakeholders. Every sprint review. By this way, I'm not giving them a big heart attack after 3 months. I'm giving them little shocks every 2 weeks or something. Okay, and this way they can get it as well. That okay, you have already told us that 2 days task had turned into 5 days task, and hence you have only able to deliver 3 things rather than the 4 things. Shit happens, isn't it? 2 days task can turn into 4 days task very easily. That's the nature of our work. And if that happens, definitely it's going to hit our plans. So rather than just keeping it and talk about this in next PI planning or the next QBR process or OKR process, why not just talk about it in every sprint review? So I'm a big fan of showing the roadmaps in every sprint review, talking about the progress towards goal every sprint review.
You know, I found that, you know, a lot of times in some companies I work with, the Scrum team itself is separated from a lot of the strategy. They're separated from measuring the outcome, and you know they're kind of separated from that part of it. And I think that tends to kind of create the feature factory kind of mentality. Have you seen that too?
Yes, I have. And this is where I would say that many product owners, they don't know what they are working on. They are not the product team. They are, I would say, they are the work team who has been given certain kind of work. And that's it. And this is where we need to think about as well that, okay, you are giving me the work, but what is the value of that work? But if you cannot give me what is the value of that work, why should I work on it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Rest of the
like what you said.
If that work is coming, definitely. If that work is coming, definitely there must be some kind of value behind it. Otherwise, what will start happening? Loudest room in the person, or loudest person in the room, they will start winning. And most of the time, they are wrong, I think.
Yeah. Any other questions from the rest of the audience in the breakout?
All right. Then let's end the session. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Lavaneesh, for all your energy, as many have commented, and see you back in the main room or for the next session. And maybe do you want to show that slide again?
Yeah. Give me a second.